In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the customer return module. First, click on Sales and Customer Return. Here you will see a list of your previous customer return entries along with their details. At the top right of the list, you will also see the total count of entries in this list along with their total amount and outstanding amount. If you would like to add a new customer return entry, you can click on Add New Item over here. Doing so will bring you to the customer return add page where you will have to fill in information regarding your customer return entry. So let's first begin with CN type. Select your CN type, whether that be CN or CN refund. And next up is your customer. So for the customer field, you can either search for an existing customer using the field over here, or you can create a new customer entry for this customer return entry. If you would like to search for an existing customer, all you have to do is just type in their name or their customer code in this field and click on Lookup. And if you want to create a new customer entry, you can click on New Customer over here. After doing so, the system will redirect you to the Customer Master Add page where you can add a new customer entry. So in my case, I'll search for an existing customer, XYZ, and after I type it in, I'll click on Lookup, and I'll select the first option. Other than that, if you would like to associate a particular vehicle with this customer return entry, you can also search for the customer's vehicle in this field. Just like the customer field, you can either search for an existing vehicle using the field over here by typing in the vehicle registration number and clicking on Lookup, or create a new vehicle entry by clicking on New Vehicle. Clicking on New Vehicle will cause the system to pop up a form where you can fill in the new vehicle entries information. So after you're done, you can click on Save, but in my case, I want to search for an existing vehicle, so I'll click on Cancel. And here I'll search for the vehicle ABC and click on Lookup, and I'll select ABC 7788. Next, I'll move on to the bill number. So for bill number, if there's an existing document that has the items that the customer wants to return, you can search it out in the bill number field over here. So let's say in my case, I'll search up the bill number 2-IBI1666 and click on Lookup. After that, I'll select the bill. After I've done so, as you can see, the items in the bill will be automatically filled in the item section down here. Now, other than the bill number, you can also type in the reference number, the currency, and remarks if there is any. After you're done filling in everything in this section, we'll move on to the next section, which is the item information. Now, just like the customer and vehicle entry, if you would like to add an existing item into this customer return entry, you can search for the item code over here and click on Lookup. Or if you would like to create a new item entry, you can click on New Inventory, and the system will redirect you to the Stock Master Add page. But since I've already added in the item entries that are going to be returned through the bill number up here, I'll briefly explain this section. Now for the item entry over here, if you would like to resequence the order, you can turn this on and you can drag them around like so. After you're done, you can turn it off. And if you would like to edit the information of these item entries, you can click on Edit over here. After you're done editing, you can click on Update to save your changes. And if you would like to delete an item entry, you can click on Delete. So that's it for the item section. We'll move on to the total section. Here is where the system will display the total amount of this customer return entry based on the items you've entered just now, along with their item discounts, parts, service, deposits, and balance if any. Now moving on to the next section. Here is where you will decide whether this customer return entry should be contra invoice or refunded by cash. So for contra invoice over here, you will see all the outstanding payments of this customer, and you can select the invoices that you would like to contra. After you've done selecting them, you can click on Add over here. Or if you don't want to do it by yourself, the system can automatically do it for you. All you have to do is just click on Auto over here, and the system will automatically contra the invoices based on the amount the customer is returning. If you would like to remove this contra invoice entry, you can click on Delete over here. And if you would like to search for certain outstanding invoices by this customer, you can also type in their invoice number or reference number in this search bar. If you do not want to contra invoice and would instead like to refund by cash or check, you can select this option over here. Once you're here, you can select your payment information, which is your payment method. So let's say I'm refunding this customer through cash. And as you may have noticed, my amount is 0. This is because I forgot to delete the invoice entry over here. So be sure to do that if you're switching from contra invoice to refund by cash or check. So after I click on delete, okay, and I'll go back to refund by cash. And as you can see, the amount will be automatically filled in by the system according to the amount up here. After that, you'll select from which account that the cash will be deducted from, and you can fill in your payment infos if you have any. After you're done, you can click on Add, and the entry will be created. You can also delete this entry by clicking on Delete, and that's it for this section. Now moving on to the final section, which is the online signature. if you would like to add your authorized signature and recipient signature to this customer return entry, you can click on this button over here. After that, you'll be brought to this page where you can do your signing. After you're done signing, you can click on Save. After that, you can click on this refresh button and your online signatures will appear in this customer return entry. So after you're done filling in all the details, you can click on Save over here to save your entry. Or if you would like to print out your customer return entry, you can also click on Print over here. Keep in mind that both options will save your entry into the system. However, if you would like to discard this entry instead, you can click on Exit. So in this case, I'm going to click on Save. As you can see, my entry has been saved in the system. So that's it for adding a new customer return entry. Now, if for any reason you would like to edit a customer return entry, all you have to do is just find that return entry's customer return number over here and click on it. After you do so, you'll be brought to the customer return edit page where you can update the customer return entries information and make your changes. After you have done so, you can click on Save and your changes will be made. Moving on, if you would like to duplicate a customer return entry, you can select your customer return entry over here and click on Copy. Doing so will cause the system to create a new customer return entry that is identical to the entry that you just copied. This function allows you to be more quick and efficient when creating multiple customer return entries for the same customer or the same items. So for now, I'll click on Exit since I'm not trying to create any more entries. And moving on, if you would like to print customer return entries, all you have to do is just select the row and click on Print. After you do so, the system will bring you to the printing page where you can print out your customer return document. However, if you would like to print multiple documents at once, instead of clicking on print one by one, you can utilize the checkboxes on the left. So after you selected the entries that you would like to print out, you can click on Print up here. And after doing so, the system will also bring you to the printing page, but this time you can print multiple documents at once. Now, let's say you would like to search for a particular customer return entry in this list. Well, you can utilize the search bar up here to do so. Here you can fill in the information of the entry such as the customer return number, the customer, the date ranges, vehicle, salesman code, reference number, and invoice number. So let's say in my case, I want to search for customer return entries that were created in the year 2024. So I'll go to the date from field over here and fill in my date ranges. In the first box, I'll fill in 2024 January 1st. And in the second one, I'll fill in 2024 December 31st. After that, I'll click on Search. And as you can see, the system will now only return to me entries that were created in the year 2024. Other than that, if you would like to filter out the entries based on column values, you can also utilize the funnel icon over here. So let's say I select these three and click on OK. The system will filter out the entries based on my selection. And if you would like to sort the entries by ascending or descending order based on column values, you can also click on the corresponding column header, like so. Finally, if you would like to change the way that this list looks, such as enable or disabling certain columns or resequencing their order, you can go up here and turn on personalized column. Doing so will give you the ability to enable or disable certain columns by clicking on these buttons. And you can also reorder their sequence by dragging them around. So after you're done, you can go down here and click on Update. And the system will update the table according to your personalization. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.